the 30th day of May, and we are back, the Microphone Insider, live on YouTube. Screw Facebook. They threw us off for some reason. I guess we can't have third-party video on private groups, so we're going to take over YouTube. Terry, Grace, what's going on, guys?
Heyo. What's going
Terry,
on? I think they're still muted.
Unmute yourself, Terry. You muted yourself.
I did mute myself.
That's a
I said, hey, you got it right.
It wasn't me, man. It wasn't me. Had nothing to do with it. All right. Geez, we got a lot going on today. We could have a show without our guests today. You throw our guest in here, and it's just taking it way over the top. We got a lot of great. Should we just spill the beans now? I mean, should we just throw it out there?
I've been waiting.
Dying to.
I know.
So I'll tell you what. Why don't we get to it right after we do all the other stuff? Just before Jordan.
Have a little more suspense.
Jordan. Yeah. No, because Jordan is actually part of one of our announcements that we're teasing. So I want to do it justice.
Yeah, true.
There's a method to my madness sometimes, people. Not always. So don't expect it. All right. So why don't we just get into this? Let's just go to our spotlight tease.
Yeah.
Here we go. The winner this week. I love saying her name. Moxie LaBouche. We're going to talk about that. We kind of talked before the show a bit about it because Moxie is full of what's that? Vim and vigor. What's that
it's
word?
the ability to withstand difficulty with spirit and courage. I looked it up.
It's also a terrible drink from Maine. And
it depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah, if you're looking for 30-weight motor oil to replace what fell out of your car, then you grab yourself some Moxie and you're good to go. Get a boxy of Moxie for your car today. And LaBouche, of course, is mouth. So what'd you say that it ends up being motor mouth?
Well, it's because I'm such a motor mouth. It was my attempt to warn people at a distance when I became a burlesque dancer. This was my stage name. And I thought, oh, this will let them know, if you start a conversation with me, I own you now.
Wow. Are you a Scorpio?
I kind of initiated this conversation, didn't I? Damn, I'm screwed. Honey, somebody else owns me now. Just saying. All right, so what we do here is we used to do a lightning round, but we can't do that anymore because you've been struck by lightning.
Just a little bit. 0 out of 10 stars. Do not recommend.
Terry was telling me that he found it shocking.
Womp womp.
Yeah, no doubt.
Nothing? I guess not. Okay. Anyhow, so we're going to do our spotlight speed round where we're going to ask you some easy to answer questions. What's your favorite color? That's not it, but if it is, take it off the list. But things like that where you can have 1 to 2, 3-word answers. Nice, quick speed round. And then after that, we're going to grab your elevator pitch and find out all about you. You ready?
All right, let's do it.
Kind of speed round music going. I don't have it, but we should. Anyhow, go ahead, guys.
Ladies first.
What is your go-to favorite comfort food?
It's all of them. Cereal, kid cereal.
Oh, excuse me.
Cereal?
Cereal. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, kid cereal.
Correct.
All right. What is your favorite genre of VO?
Oh, can I just say corporate? Can I claim all of corporate?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Favorite way to relax?
TV. I got to be honest. It just keeps happening. I like to say reading, but it ends up being the TV.
Favorite animated movie?
Oh, The Last Unicorn, probably.
Interesting.
Okay. What is your favorite cocktail or mocktail?
Moscow Mule, all day, before the hipsters rediscovered it. I led the way.
Gotcha. Nice.
Who is the most supportive person in your VO career?
My mom. She was a radio DJ. She's the reason I got into this in the first place.
Oh, cool. What do we miss? What is your dream project? Like 20 years down the road, like what is the dream? What's your dream project in VO?
I'd like to have one, but I don't care what, as long as I still have enough, I can make a living for myself and my family, and I still have enough hours in the day to just get distracted by a moth and go run off after it.
Nice.
That
That's
works.
cool.
What?
My
What
20-year
is
goal
your
is not to be dead.
favorite?
Dead.
What is your favorite podcast?
Oh God, what's that one called with those three people on it? Oh yeah, The Microphone Insider every Thursday.
That is correct.
I could not think of a single other podcast with 3 hosts on it to make the punchline. I was struggling.
So, Moxie, if not VO, then what would you be doing?
It's hard to say actually because I've had some complications with my health that have made me functionally employable. So it'd have to be freelance something. And if I'm going to be talking all day anyway, which is why I gave myself this moniker, I'm glad I've had the strength to do this.
Very cool.
OnlyFans Moxie. Check it out.
I wish, man, I could be bringing down some money.
Some
Because
baggage.
there's a big market for postmenopausal middle-aged women.
The things
All
I
right,
have
you-
to look forward to.
All right, cool. So
Embrace the
let's get
sag.
give us your 20 to 30 seconds elevator pitch. You just got on with person from Nickelodeon that's looking for someone with a name with some moxie to it. What do you say to them? Sell yourself. 20 seconds. Go.
Well, if you're looking for somebody who can do wacky voices and spot-on accents, that ain't me, Jack. Go talk to somebody else. I do corporate voiceover. I deliver top-quality corporate voiceovers lightning fast because I was once struck by lightning. So anything under the corporate umbrella, telephony, commercials, nonfiction audiobooks, and I do a lot of guided meditations.
Ooh, I love those.
Good job. Teach
Very
me.
nice. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Actually, call me tonight. 'Cause I'm having a hard time
You
sleeping.
know, she's
Yeah.
hired, and I don't even do the
My therapists will try to recommend meditation. I'm like, I can't. Let me explain why.
Yeah.
Because all I will be well, we can't listen to anything for enjoyment without hearing
No, we
the
critique
mouth
the hell out
noise
of it.
and the audio
Not at
levels and
all.
stuff. So
Yeah.
Not at all.
I
Do you
can't
know how many
possibly
mouth clicks I
relax.
hear on national TV? I hear a lot of
Oh,
mouth clicks. It's crazy.
stop. Yeah.
It's terrible. Moxie,
And
thanks
the
for joining us. Thanks for voicing that for us. We really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure to actually get to know you face to face. I know we're on Facebook.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we just became friends today on Facebook, but I've
Yeah,
seen you
just
around. So glad to have you.
I'm always around. Like a bad penny, I just keep turning up.
Thanks, Moxie. You
Thanks.
guys want to get a hold
Thanks,
of Moxie, go to
Moxie.
moxielabouche.com and find her on all the social medias as well. Thanks a lot, Moxie. Appreciate it. All right, here we go. We're at the show here. We haven't said hi to anybody, but I don't know where my comments are to say hi to people. So I'm just going to find that while Grace gives us a little update on what we should be doing to keep ourselves healthy, either mentally or physically. Activity? What the hell's that?
Yeah. Well, today I want to talk about butt wipes. Just kidding. Just kidding. Burnout. I want to talk about burnout. So burnout is a form of exhaustion caused by constantly feeling swamped. It happens when we experience too much emotional, physical, and mental fatigue for too long. In many cases, burnout is related to one's job. And in our case, as voice actors, we have like 7 jobs, so it can be a real challenge to deal with. And on top of our 7 jobs, it can also affect other areas of your life, like home life and your social life, your friends. And I found this interesting. Burnout can be caused by stress, but it's not the same as stress. Stress results from too much mental and physical pressure and too many demands of your time and energy. Burnout is about too little emotion, motivation, or care. Stress can make you feel overwhelmed, while excuse me, while burnout makes you feel depleted and used up and fatigued. It keeps you from being productive. It makes you feel hopeless, cynical, and resentful. The effects of burnout can hurt your home, work, and social life, and it also, long-term burnout can affect make you more vulnerable to colds and flu. What can you do? Talk with your supervisor. In our case, we are our supervisors. So take the time to have sort of an inner monologue with yourself and be kind, and just, if you wanted, less stress at work, what would you tell your boss if you had an old boss or whatever. The one we're all tired of hearing, getting enough sleep. See what I did there? Okay. These are jokes about my demo, but anyway. Try a relaxing. Thanks, Jim. Try a relaxing activity. A lot of people do yoga or meditation. Speaking of meditation, be mindful. Be patient with yourself. Give yourself time to focus on what your senses in the moment, and find support. We have an entire worldwide community of amazing people who care about all of us. So reach out with someone you're most comfortable with, and trust me, we will understand what's going on. There are 4 types and several stages of burnout, several signs and symptoms. If this seems familiar to you at all, and you want to look into it further, check out the article that I'll post on the TMI page directly after the show.
Thank you, Grace. I have to go to a black screen for a minute and give people a chance to get themselves situated where they're not going to fall over easy. It's a black screen on purpose here, guys. All right, brace yourselves. Here we go. I'm ready.
If Terry can cook and you can too, his friends are his reason to bring food to you. Chef Briscoe Power, the greatest one of his time. Chef Briscoe Power, bringing dinner to yours and mine.
Yeah, that
That
happened.
is literally the best thing of all time. That is the best thing of all time.
We'd like to
And
thank
yeah,
Randy.
that was the creation and composition of my fiance, Randy Steinberg. And that was his baby, and he worked hard on it. He
And
was
now it's
like,
our baby. And now it's our baby, and we have to clean up after it. What the heck's going on here?
Yeah.
Jesus. Mike sent us in the audio on a dare a couple shows ago. We've been playing it dry for a while, but nobody likes dry humping. So Randy put some music behind it that I think is just perfect with it. So Randy, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Randy.
Yeah.
AKA
The Bearded Wonder.
Or our daddy, I guess he goes by now, right? Too.
our daddy.
If Terry can cook and you can too.
All right, I'm not going to put you through that. I can turn. All right. Terry, what do you got going for us this week?
After listening to that twice, I think we all deserve a drink. So
Cheers.
today we've got the Honey Mint Whiskey Mojito. Mojitos are my absolute favorite cocktail, but I love whiskey, so I had to find a way to do both. So here's what you need. You need 1 whole lime, and you need all of the juice from it except for that 1 slice that you're going to use to garnish. You need 10 fresh mint leaves. You need 2 tablespoons of honey, 4 ounces of ginger ale, and 4 ounces of whiskey. The actual recipe called for honey whiskey, but that is overkill. Do not do that. Use regular whiskey. So you want to place those fresh mint leaves, honey, and lime juice in a cocktail shaker and muddle with a wooden spoon. I also stirred it up a little bit to try to dissolve some of the honey as well. Then you want to add your ice, whiskey, and ginger ale into the container and shake it vigorously for about 1 minute. Then you can strain that into a glass filled with ice and garnish with the fresh mint and lime. And this is what it looks like.
Oh, you want me to show it? Damn it, I'm not ready for you, dude. Hold on. Here we go. There it is.
Yeah.
That looks good, man. Very
It will
good.
creep you. Be careful.
He's parody.
All right, so that's going to be on the Facebook page as well. So check that out. I want to get to a couple of our comments that we usually do at the beginning of the show. There's a ton of them up here. So, guys, thank you so much for. Screw them. This is just saying hi to everybody else. All right, whatever.
No. I
Okay,
liked
fine.
Bill Sellers' comment.
Oh, butt wipes. Yeah. Hold on. Let's pull this stuff down here. Do a little. Sorry for the. Let's
I
see what else we
apologize
have.
for glossing over them, Bill.
Yes.
You can learn more about them on my demo.
Terry, on the other hand, thinks they're Terry. Come on. That's terrible, dude. I can't. Don't even laugh at yourself on that one. That's terrible.
Why?
What's up, DF?
Hey, DF.
No.
Yeah, Lisa Stewart. Oh, we just did Lisa's website this week. You got to check it out, lisastewartvo.com.
Oh, I bet
She
that's
did a
good.
really good job at that. So you should have an earphone warning on that intro. You know, I gave you time. I told you to sit down and relax.
The
It's
warning
not
was
my
out there.
fault. The warning was out there. It's coming again.
Well,
Watch out.
we'll do better.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. Just kidding.
Randy's never going to watch the replays again. Stop. You know how many times I've heard this since I've been working on it.
Hey, Grace.
Hi,
Hey, Grace.
Greg.
What does Randy think the name of the show is?
I don't know this week.
Really? He does that with our accountability group too. We're
Yeah,
like
he doesn't. He doesn't remember our accountability. And I think he's just started calling this the show. So
it's just the show. All right, perfect. All right, listen. Speaking of websites and things, let's give some information out here that we're dying to talk about.
Yeah.
If you notice down here, we have a little website thing here. It says the microphone. I'm gonna move it. Microphoneinsider.com. Brand new website, up and running even as we speak.
Woo!
On that website, I wish I had the graphic ready to go, but I don't. On that website, we have the TMI conference scholarship. God, I just had a brain cramp. Sorry. So you can sign up for that. It's easy to do. You just fill a form out. It's like any of the other scholarships. We're giving away 2 full weekend passes, hotel and transportation not included. We're giving away 2 full weekend passes for One Voice Dallas this year, August 8th through the 11th. One person will get 1 weekend pass. Another person will get another weekend pass. And that is thanks to our good friend Scott Park. And I have to thank Scott so much. Last Thursday, the 23rd, Scott did a workshop for us, and he donated all of his earnings to the cause. And that workshop alone paid for those 2 full passes for Dallas. So thank you, Scott. So what you're going to do is just go to our website. What's that?
No, I said, thank you, Scott. That was amazing.
It really was. So go to our website, themicrophoneinsider.com, brand new. Love to see you guys there. And right at the very top, you'll see a place where you can click on it and you can, hold on, it's going to look something like that. There we go. All right. So what you got to do is just go there, click on that, fill out the form. And we have, I think we have 5, it might be 7.
It's 5.
It's 5. We have 5
mystery judges.
Yeah, because we don't want to make that decision.
We will not. We will see the names, but the judges will not. They'll be numbered, and they'll just see your answers. So
exactly,
we won't have anything to do with it.
Because we're friends with all you guys. I mean, we know pretty much everybody in this group.
We can't be objective.
Yeah, so we don't want any kind of. I'm not that you guys would think that, but I just don't feel comfortable, being a part of that. So we got some top people in the industry. I was actually shocked some of the people that said yes. So I'm pretty psyched about that. So sign up for the Microphone Insider. You can join our newsletter. You can get a monthly newsletter. Probably not going to over inundate you with emails. Most of our announcements are on the Facebook page, but I am going to send out a monthly email. Dallas is is 8th through the 11th of August. Steve, I'm sorry, I didn't say that. It's August 8th through the 11th, or the 10th, not 8th. It's Thursday through Sunday. Figure out the math. And so while you're there, what's that? You
still have the TMI. Is that on purpose? Are you giving us a break?
just so they can see it. Yeah, why not? The gummies are starting to kick in anyhow. So this I might as well just look like I graduated for a while. Why not? So sign up for the TMI scholarship, and hopefully you'll be a winner. We're going to do it again sometime in November or December to get ready for VO Atlanta. We have 2 passes for that as well. So, and also while you're there, click on the events page, because we have an events page now. And these are a month, 3 months down the road. We have something going on with Ann Ganguza. She's going to be doing either e-learning or medical narration. We haven't decided what we're going to do. We might take a poll on the Facebook page to figure out what people want. And then in September, the 17th, I believe it is, we have the Lobster Man himself, J. Michael Collins, doing a political workshop. I mean, these are gold, guys. These are gold. So there's only 12 participants per workshop and unlimited auditors, so you can learn a lot from watching if you don't get in. And speaking of workshops, we have Vince Labica coming up, and there is one ticket became available. Believe it or not, one ticket became available. I'm going to type in right here. It's not on the new website. It's on the old website. Well, my website. Let me just type in where you need to go. JimFrank.com. It's easy. It's just JimFrank.com/TMI. I just put it in the chat. If you guys go there, it's first come, first serve. Scott Labica, one ticket available. I think it's $139 for a 3-hour workshop with one of the premier talent agents in the business from DPN. You know, he just had a baby. Actually, him and his wife are probably, I don't know, probably the hottest couple in VO, except for our guest and, you know, his better half. So we'll talk about that coming up. And let me get rid of this picture. Hold on. Maybe we'll just add this down here for now. Coming up in July, and I'm just going to tease this a little bit. Here we go. Coming up in July, we're going to do something on the 25th. July 25th is organically a Thursday. It's organically one of our shows already scheduled, and we're going to have Christmas in July, sponsored by our good friends at JMC Demos. Okay, we have already over $12,000 worth of prizes. And we're just going to spin the old, you know, wheel of names spinny thing. And all you got to do is sign up. Not right now. Take care of the scholarship thing first. We'll let you know when that's going to come up. We'll give you a list of all the stuff. But we have coaches. We have gear. We have Fernando. Is it Fernando or Ferdinand? Fernando donated 2 of those Mike Hero ESPs, the new ones. We have coaching from Angan Goose. We have Zellman. Kristen Piver is giving away 6 spots in a workshop. The list just goes on. And it culminates with Santa Claus himself, J. Michael Collins, giving us a non-broadcast corporate demo of choice valued at over $2,100.
Just no big deal.
Just no big deal. Get yourself
Can
a demo.
we tell them one more what our guest today?
Well, we kind of have to tell them
You
one
kind of
more.
have to.
Let
It's
me,
amazing.
let me stand
Like,
up
I
here
want to
first.
be able to win.
Let me stand up
I
here
know,
first.
right?
All right. You know, we're going to do a little different intro here because we're doing this. Jordan, I'm just going to bring you up. And because you were a little bit late or I was early, I don't know. I just got to find you. Here we are. Okay, my friend. How are you? Can you hear us?
Hey, late.
All right.
I've been here for 20 minutes.
Anyhow,
the
Jordan
Mark
Reynolds,
intro.
the audio ninja. He is a tech guru. If you have an Apollo, he's the guy you really need to talk to. He has hooked me up unbelievably with my Apollo duo. And Jordan, we spoke and we decided to do a combo situation here because doing this giveaway, the VO Trio wanted to give something away. And I just happen to have in my hands a nice Apollo Solo. Ooh, brand new in the box. Yeah, never been licked. Well, to my knowledge. Cricket may have tasted it. I'm not sure. But anyhow. And speaking with Jordan, and so I don't butcher it, Jordan, what is the name of the course?
It's the Apollo course specifically.
Yeah, the Apollo course specifically.
It's too long. It's the ultimate UAD Apollo course.
There you go.
The ultimate. I added another U.
Apollo course.
Yeah.
So we're going to combine those together. We're going to give away the Apollo Solo, and we're going to give away the ultimate Apollo course together to one person. So you're going to get the tech, and you're going to get the knowledge. And when you look at the knowledge, you're like, "Well, this tech." I mean, I graduated in 1984. I mean, I have a hard enough time trying to figure out the DVD player. What, we don't watch DVDs anymore? Fuck. Anyhow, then you call Jordan, the audio ninja, and he comes in and goes, don't worry about it, Jim. Click, 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 click. And that's it. Done.
Bada
That is
bing.
So
so
jealous.
And thank you for donating that. It's amazing.
And that's not all he donated.
Really awesome.
He also donated one of your...
But wait, there's more.
Yeah. If you order now, you get a 6-piece steak knife. There's a
Made of
audio,
plastic.
a home studio audio course that you have as well, correct?
Yeah, so then I also have the Audio Ninja Masterclass that I'm donating.
it.
So that's if you really want to learn how to do your own EQ and de-essing and how bad is my noise floor, how good is it, and you want to make your own presets. And this is non-Apollo specific. It's just like no matter what interface you have, as long as you know how to hit record and do basic editing, that's the barrier to entry. So it really gets you to elevate your audio and make it sound a lot better than most people and what they're submitting out there these days, which is usually very overprocessed audio, or if it's raw, it doesn't sound great. So I get you. I do everything in the prevention stage in the course. And then if there's some junk left over, then we can do some processing like noise removal, de-essing, compression, stuff like that. So that's a whole separate course that I threw into the Christmas in July party.
How cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
And that's happening,
Really
like
cool,
we
man.
said, it's happening on July 25th, right here, as we normally do. Let me get all this. For some reason, things are a bit.
Thanks,
wonky
Bill.
Today. Yeah, Bill getting in his thing. RxD Voices says, boom, there you go. So yeah, if you
Thank
guys have
you.
any questions for
What's up?
Jordan, now's the time to ask. Okay, we've got him, on the clock or off the clock, or get those questions in now. I have a couple questions, Jordan. Actually, since I have one of these things, and you've hooked me up very nicely, and we've done things. I've hired you to make things sound great, and I appreciate that. But I'm looking to buy an iMac or a Mac Studio Cube, whatever it is, some sort of tower or desktop type version, and instead of using my laptop for everything, because everything I have going on now, I'm starting to just get to the edge of So I want to kind of bring it back. Am I able to use the Apollo software and the Apollo on both computers? Say if one goes down and I want to use the other one, I don't have to like re-up things. I don't have to repurchase things, do I?
No, not at all. So the only downside is the only limitation is that one Apollo can only be used physically connected to one computer at a time.
Right.
But let's say you wanted, you have one Apollo twin, but you have a MacBook Pro and you have a Mac Mini. You could take that twin and plug it into either computer, and nothing has to be like reauthorized, or you don't have to buy the plugins. It'll all just load up in the console. Now, as far as like what settings if you set up presets and stuff like that in the console, or a certain layout, you named your channels at the bottom with your mic name, stuff like that, that's not tied into the piece of hardware itself. Those settings are saved on the computer that it was connected to before. Okay, so those need to be transferred over, reconfigured to the other computer, but it'll work like butter.
So all the different settings that we have for my 416, we have 4 or 5 settings. We have 3 or 4 settings for the U87, a couple settings for the 103. Those will not be on the new computer. I'd have to get with you again to get those settings all dialed in again.
Yeah, you can transfer in the it's pretty easy to transfer them, but
just
if
drag
you're not
folders
you just literally like copy 2 sets of folders over and put it on the other computer, and then you open up console and it's there. It's that simple.
Yeah, I'll be calling you.
Yeah. You can fuck it up. Or wait, family show? Mess it up. I don't know.
Yeah, you can say fuck it up, man. Yeah.
You can fuck it up.
My video cassette player still flashes 12 o'clock, so that's where I'm at.
Man, I don't know what. Oh yeah, they had clocks on them. I forgot.
Screw you, kid.
No, I grew up watching cassettes, but I'm like, I literally was thinking, because everyone talks in gain as far as analog clocks, and I'm always thinking kids these days don't know how to read analog clocks. They don't just look at their damn phone, which is me. But I know how to read an analog clock, but I only rely on a digital phone. But all that aside, when you said 12 o'clock, I was thinking literally analog clock on a VCR. I'm like, I don't remember that. But then I thought digital, and it all came back. And mine was probably always flashing 12 too.
There you go. All right, Terry.
Yo, got a question from Brandon Keener. Does the Ultimate UAD course include potential options for setting up stuff like the Manley Voxbox, Avalon, or C-Suite noise reduction, etc.?
100%, Brandon. Thanks for asking. There's 3 versions of the UAD course. There is the Gold, Premium, and Platinum. Price from lowest to highest. And the Gold package includes pretty much any free plugins that come with your Apollo, which is like the LA2A 1176, the Precision Channel Strip, which has a compression EQ in it. I teach you how to use all of that stuff, plus the console. So all plugins aside, there's all the stuff that's included in the Gold, like the base of everything. But then if you want to learn how to use the Voxbox, like you're saying, and the Avalon, that's in the premium package, and it's only $100 more. But also shows you how to use the Precision De-esser, which is a fantastic plugin I use on most people's voices. So essentially, you pay for premium, and you get a really, really in-depth walkthrough of the VoxBox and the Avalon and the Precision De-esser. And I have presets designed for all of them, and I walk through every preset in the video and like what the purpose and how to dial it in for your voice. So, and the C-Suite, the noise reduction plugin, I cover that in the cheapest version of the course, the gold course. So if you want to learn the VoxBox Avalon De-esser, that's in the premium version. But C-Suite and everything else is covered in the gold version. What's up?
Do your settings come where you can actually use them?
Yeah.
Like when
what do you mean?
Put it down as a Jordan Reynolds setting.
Yeah.
Can you actually use?
Yeah. I hired a programmer to make an installer. So when you download an installer, you double click on it, next, sign my life away, sell my voice to AI, have my firstborn, and then you hit finish. And then when you open up the console app, or you open up any of the Avalon or the Manly or anything, you click on the preset drop down. There's going to be a Jordan VO folder right there with presets already installed. So there's not like, it's not like finicky dragging, like unzip the, I have a workaround if the installer doesn't work, but so far no one has had a problem with it. Thank God. PC and Mac installers, by the way, actually.
So it's good for PC and Mac. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Now there is a difference between the Apollo unit itself for PC and Mac. Correct?
Yeah, correct. So if you're on a PC, you should only buy an Apollo USB model. So, and you only have two options, actually. There's three now technically, but they essentially overlap. You got the Apollo Twin, and now they have the Apollo Twin X, but all of them say USB at the end. So just make sure, sometimes just look at the specs, make sure it's the USB model of an Apollo. So you either have an Apollo Solo USB, Apollo Twin USB. Those are essentially your main options. If you get a Thunderbolt, they advertise, they're like, oh, the Thunderbolt, it works with a PC. No, it doesn't. Good luck. If you figured it out, DM me and we'll figure it. But yeah, it's I don't know why they advertise that, because Thunderbolt isn't standard on most PCs. Some gamer laptops and PCs do come with Thunderbolt, but everyone I know who has tried a Thunderbolt Apollo on a PC has had nightmare issues, and they're like screw it, and they go get the USB one, and it works perfectly. So,
all right. Hey, Instonio made it to the party finally. Hey, Instonio. Glad to see you. We've only been here since October. Okay. Grace.
Yeah, Steve Ward asks, is there a difference between using an Apollo and DAW, like Adobe Audition?
Yes, essentially those are two different things. So in case that isn't clear to you, the Apollo is literally a physical audio interface. So it's like a Focusrite Scarlett. So it's what you plug your mic into, and then there's a Thunderbolt or USB cable that comes out of it and goes into your computer. But the difference is that it's versus an Apollo versus a Scarlett is the Apollo is way fancier, and that's why it's so expensive compared to the Scarlett, because you can open up a piece of software and then load things like a compressor. You can load an EQ, you can load noise removal, just like you can do inside of Adobe Audition, right? So the perk is that you can have all of this stuff. So if you're already doing stuff in Adobe Audition, you're recording it all raw. It lands in Adobe Audition, and maybe your noise floor is kind of shit, and your S's are really sharp, and maybe it's a little bit of a boxy space, but you've done everything you could to prevent all that stuff, that junk, from getting into your audio, but it's in there in your raw audio, and it's sitting there in Adobe Audition. Well, you can make a preset inside of Adobe Audition and use plugins in there, and then apply it to your file after you record. But within Apollo, it does it all live. Yeah. And then it spits it out already cleaned up and perfected, and then it lands in your DAW, whether it's Twisted Wave, Audition, whatever. It doesn't have mouth clicks removal, but pretty much everything else it does. And honestly, you get more flavors. Like it's emulating vintage or modern analog gear. That's what the Apollo does. So it gives you these different flavors and vibes that would cost you normally, anywhere from $3,000 to $20,000 worth of hardware that you go buy and put in a rack. You have it in a piece of software. So
Wow.
that's what you're really paying for, is having it done. And some people may ask, like, that's not a big deal. Why do I want it done? It's a bigger deal if you're doing live sessions. So you're on Source Connect or Session Link Pro, or right, where they're recording you live, Bodalgo call. The engineer is literally lifting your audio instantaneously and they don't need you to record a file and send it afterwards. You can't be like, I'm going to clean up my noise floor and then I'll send it to them raw. No, you cannot do that, right? They're recording you live as is. So, but when it's on an Apollo, your as is a little, has some cleaned up. It can be cleaned up when done properly.
It's
by a professional like myself or yeah. But anyways, go ahead, Jim.
No, Terry.
Yeah, so speaking of, we had a disagreement, or not a disagreement, but we're trying to figure out what's correct and what's not correct. When it comes to the plugins in the Apollo, because the stuff is done prior to you actually recording, is that considered raw audio or not?
No, technically, no. Technically, absolutely
Terry
not.
for the win.
Right. Technically, no, but it's not the argument with me, but I'm a big fan of doing it pre-production as opposed to post-production. The post-production isn't a bad situation. And when you were talking about presets and things, just so people that may or may not know, just to put it on our terms, Uncle Roy's stack. It's all these things that are in that you do after you record. The pre-recording, hitting it up. I have a air conditioner going right now, right behind me, the window right there. You guys can't hear it because of the C-Suite and because Jordan hooked it up where I'm using my Apollo plugins for my Zoom calls too, and for every other call, which works out really great for me. We have a ton of questions here, so why don't we get to these? Well, Brandon just says, we'll get to Brandon. That's not really a question. Raisin, DF. Terry.
I just like the name. I just like the name Raisin.
Yeah, well, it's like
Question.
DF Raisin, but yeah.
Question, microphones, USB versus XLR, is there truly an advantage of one over the other, or is it just a matter of preference?
The advantage, it's a great question. If you asked me this 5 to 10 years ago, generally XLR mics, well, one, you always still to this day have a wider range of selection. There's just way more mics and types and that are available when you go XLR. But and in general, 5 to 10 years ago, XLR mics on average generally sound a lot better than most of the USB mics that were on the market 5 to 10 years ago. Today, there's still a lot of shitty USB mics that sound absolutely terrible for professional voiceover. It's because they're making them for streamers or just people want to just get a podcast off the ground. You can get a $30 USB mic, but it's not going to sound good for professional VO work. But you can get like $150 or up to like a $300 USB mic, like the Rode NT1 5th gen, which is actually a USB and an XLR mic. So that is where there is an advantage, is that one, it's USB. So you don't need to buy an audio interface like a Focusrite Scarlett. You don't need to hook it into anything. You just have one cable coming out of the mic and it goes right into your computer and it's done. So you only spend $250 and it's done. You don't need to go buy a $100 or $200 interface. You don't need to get $400 or $500 deep and you could still have a great sound with the USB mic. So there are better USB mics on the market, not a ton, but there are more today. So the advantage of USB is convenience, but the disadvantage is upgradability. So you can't, it's just stuck. You're stuck with USB. If you wanted to like hook it up to a nicer thing like an Apollo and run some processing on it, you're screwed. If it's just a USB mic, you can't do that. You need an XLR mic. So the advantage of XLR mics is you have a wider range of flavors. They tend to, on average, just sound better quality for professional VO work, especially in like the $200 and up price range. And you can hook them in. You can hook them up to an infinite amount of audio interfaces. You're not limited with that damn USB cable.
All right, cool. I have a question and a plug, I guess, probably. Question is, when recording, is there a sweet spot decibel-wise to record? And I know they like to get negative 3 dB, as a final, but should you be recording between 9 and 12 or 6 and 9, or do you try to hit that 3 when you record?
To each their own. I find people who like people who, maybe like yourself, Jim, have like a radio background, are kind of used to already, because you got to have it for it to go live to air, your voice to go on air. There's more processing going on your voice. So you're used to a hotter signal, and people who've done radio are used to just like pushing that limit a little higher. So they're trying to kind of get those peaks to generally be hitting around -3. No problem with that. But especially if you have some compression on there, that's kind of keeping it tighter, but it's not guaranteeing that it's going to, not go over -3, but it's at least keeping it controlled. But for most people, I recommend that their peaks average between -12 and -6. Okay. So that gives you, I like giving that range because, some people are like, oh, -9 to -6. That's 3 fucking dB. That's really hard to nail, to make sure it's there. So as long as like the majority, or at least your peaky peaks, like more than one peak. So if you have if it's a 60-second file and at least like 5 of those peaks are really hitting between -12 and maybe the loudest one's hitting -6, you're in a good zone. Because when you give yourself a little bit of headroom, which means what's left, -6 up to 0, and then it's going to clip and sound like crap. So you have that headroom of -6 to 0 that lets you get a little loud for a second, and it's not going to distort. Whereas if you crank the gain, and if you're doing a bit more of an animated read, or just a dynamic, just, more boisterous, even if it's a commercial read, and you're just like, yeah, so you go to Staples and you hit the stay a little hard, you have that headroom if you're going between -12 and -6. So that's my long answer to just say -12, -6.
That's perfect. No, that's exactly. And if you do happen to be in that -12 to -6, and you go up to -4 or -3 on like one of those little rogue ones, you can always knock that down, 2, 3, 4 dBs to get everything where it needs to be before you
afterwards.
Process it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, cool. A little plug here. We're talking microphones. We're talking interfaces. We do have a lot of new people that do listen to us and follow us here. You have a page on your website, I believe, that has good, better, best type of or recommendations for.
I have a recommended.
Like
I have a recommended gear page. It's I need to change. Yeah. I need to. Well, there's. I used Amazon's own HTML, this, Jim, because you do websites. I use Amazon's own, because it's Amazon affiliate links, just so I can, get a tiny cut if someone clicks on it, but no one pays anything for it. Amazon is the one who, pays me. But so I go look at it, but all of the images that I spent hours and hours taking their HTML codes to take their product image and show a picture of the mic and whatnot are all broken. Yay! So it's just a bunch of text now. You can read it, but the images are all gone for most of the gear. So you can still click on the text for most of them, but I need to go through and just add my own damn images in case they ever change their backend URLs. But yes, check it out. I have a low. It's more of like low budget, medium, and high budget, because there's just a which is kind of like good, better, best in a way. But I give that low, medium, high budget options for microphones, audio interfaces, headphones, you name it.
You can do this for less than $400 or $500.
Absolutely.
But you could also do it for $4 or $5 grand.
Yep.
And you get what you pay for, but there is some great equipment out there when you're first starting this. So, don't think you have to buy the best stuff to start.
I have a question. Are most agents' ears as sharp as someone like you or Uncle Roy? Are they as sharp as, unless it's egregious, are they really going to pick up if we have, I don't know, some kind of mouth click or D or S?
Definitely not clicks. No one, for the most part. I ask engineers and casting people all the time, and I think I've only had one casting director. She's like, yeah, some mouth clicks kind of, I notice them. They bother me a bit, but I'm never like weighing it against them if I'm going to cast them. Like, oh God, Grace. Oh God, she's in the final 2. Those mouth clicks. Oh, just go with Terry. His mouth is so much cleaner. Just book him. I can't take Grace's clicks. I can't. No, I don't care if she's the best. I don't care if the spec says female. I can't handle her clicks. This voice actors think like that. That's how they think everyone else thinks about their clicks.
Yeah.
But that's not how people who are hiring us think about it. Now, if the overall quality, so if the S's are like really, really bad, but it's more so, it's just this, it's usually just really poor mic placement or the space and all that combined. So it's either way too echoey or I just worked with a talent this week where I don't know where they got the advice. I'm sure it was well intentioned, but their microphone, it was a Rode NC1. And it was like this. Oh, wait. Oh, I have a small camera shot here. It was recording.
Why?
Yeah, we've seen it.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Again, no fault's on her, right? And so,
Yeah.
but it sounded not good. It didn't sound terrible, but it sounded really muffled and dull because it's not picking up the clarity. It's picking up her jaw, right? So we swooped it over and got it like at a nice angle. And my God, it's just night and day. It sounded like a whole new space. So agents, so if in cases like that, agents do on a range, some got more of a sharp ear than others. They know that there's a problem. They don't know how to describe it. So they don't know the language or what to tell them. They just say, go talk to Jordan, go talk to George, right? They know when there's a problem when they're clicking through an audition over and over, everyone reading the same scripts. And all of a sudden one just sounds really like, like you hear like, you need ink and toner. So you go to Staples. You need ink and toner. So you go to Staples. And you hear like, you need ink and toner. So you go to Staples. They're going to be like, Jordan, you need this. I don't know how to describe it. Something's going on. You might want to get it checked out. Go see an audio doctor,
I'd like to ask the question, what's your affiliations with Staples? Because if you work with Jordan, you're going to say those lines over and over
again.
Yep. I know. Dude, it's just an
have a
old-ass
question about
workshop script.
I have a question about your actual voiceover career.
Cool. Yeah.
It's
I am a
wonderful
voice
to
actor.
talk about all the tech stuff. He's actually a voice actor, people. Like a very, very successful one.
Before we get to his voice acting, let's just answer one more tech question, and then we'll do all voice acting at the end. How's that sound? Because
whatever you want. If it's all audio, I don't care. I'm here to just answer questions.
No,
so.
let's talk about you, because you're a very talented person. Antonio says, Jordan, after I finish making Terry's real estate video for his demo, I'm building a professional sound booth. What do you recommend for sound absorption / acoustics?
That really depends. It's a great question, but it just highly depends on how big your space is, how much noise is getting in. But to give you a really straightforward answer, acoustic panels generally are going to sound better than foam. If you go foam, get at least 2 inches thick. And definitely get those foam bass traps that are like 12 inches thick that you can stuff in the corners. It's difficult to over bass trap, but if you can at least put 4 bass traps up, which are about 12 inches long by 12 inches deep, roughly, I believe. Ceiling to wall corners, that's where a lot of the crap builds up and makes it sound like you're talking in a coffin and dead, but you don't want to sound like you're dead. So acoustic panels, which are made out of insulation, tend to sound better, and they do perform better at absorbing more of your voice in a small space. If you get acoustic panels, if you can get 4-inch thick panels, at least for some of the panels in your space, so like the panel you're facing and maybe above you on the ceiling, if you can go as thick as 4 inches, that's great. If that's too small and it makes you feel claustrophobic and then you can't breathe, then at least get 2-inch thick panels. Anything smaller, thinner than 2 inches is going to do not much. It'll sound like it'll take away the echo, but it's not going to help anything with the boxy. Those frequencies are just going to be bellowing up in the space without at least 2 to 4 inch thick absorption. So there's some like starting points for you.
Now, I noticed that you have spaces between your sound panels behind you. The smaller the space, should there be, like for instance, I have a 5x10 area. Should I have
that's big.
all panels, or should I have just spaces?
No, generally, a rule of thumb. Yeah, this is not a rule. It's just more of a recommendation. This is not like a guarantee of every space. But you, the bigger the space you have, the more freedom you have to kind of have some more hard surface areas exposed. Not like you can just cover, 20% of the walls and it's going to sound good in a 5x10 space. That'll sound terrible, or it just won't sound great. But if you have some space like a bedroom that you're treating, aim for about 70% coverage at least on the walls. Okay. That's so just like measure the total wall length and just, what's 70% of that. Try to cover about 70% of it, at least knee to head height. So that's not floor to ceiling. Floor to ceiling can be overkill in a larger room. But in a small space, it's really hard to get away with really any exposed hard wall. So if you're in a 4x3 booth, or if you're in a tiny closet, having, an entire, 4 foot by 2 foot blank wall in that space, like if one wall is totally hard and the rest is all foam, usually that wall potential, depending on the mic placement, the mic type and everything, it's going to not do you any favors. Gotcha. So, but you got to just focus from knee height up to your body where your voice is, your pie hole a little above. But it doesn't have to be all the way to the floor. But going up to the ceiling is more beneficial than going all the way to the floor in terms of absorption materials goes.
All right, we've got about 10 minutes left in the show, so let's switch gears now. Let's talk about Jordan Reynolds, the voice actor, because you've done it all, like commercials, animation, video games.
Everything but audiobooks.
Because they're terrible. Nobody wants to do audiobooks.
No, man, I don't know how they do it.
Terry,
stamina. I don't know how you do it. I couldn't. I'd die. I would die after chapter 1. Like I'd be like,
everyone should do
2.
at least 1. Everyone should do 1 at least.
Right.
I will. And I want to do a romance novel, so I'm just so I can just talk like this the whole time.
Yeah. Only if you do it with Mar.
Yeah,
if you do it with Mara,
exactly.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Where is Mara? Tell her I said hi.
She's somewhere. I think she might be in the chat. Yeah, Mara, type in the chat for you there. Yeah. I gave her the link, but she's being a bad wife and not watching.
She sees you and listens to you all the time. Anyhow. Terry, you had a question, I believe, right, about voice acting and things.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like Jim just said, you've done everything except audiobooks.
Yeah.
What was the most challenging thing for you to learn as a student?
Oh,
ooh,
damn! Like, do you have any more specificity on that? Like, genre, like what genre or technique, or is there anything that you're like more specific, or just like?
I was thinking genre, but now I kind of want to know about technique.
Sure. Okay. Well, I can make it twofold. Genre is definitely the hardest. It's just character work in general. So just like video games, animation, it just requires, it's just a whole nother muscle, man. Like if it's more grounded video game stuff, it's like on camera acting. You have to just learn not to, especially when you start in narration, commercial, corporate training, which is where I started, right? I didn't come from radio, fortunately, for the fact that, it can negatively impact your reads and make it more, hey, I am a radio guy. I have this colorful voice and hello, I'm coming after you, Batman. You better stop. I'm going to beat you down.
Buy. I'm selling you something.
Exactly. No one wants to hear like if the Joker used to work in radio. That's just Actually, if he did, it might be like I like to hear like a 1940s announcer. A Batman, you better watch out. I'm going to steal all of your shit. So,
you need to patent that
drink milk, it does body
now.
Anyways, so yeah. So back to the challenge. So with video game stuff, you just got to bring it down. So when I was doing commercials and I started in 2008, right? So that was the era of like conversational was starting to really be more of the thing, but it was still not that conversational. It still was like light announcer, where it's like, it's not like only at McDonald's. It's like only at McDonald's, but it wasn't like only at McDonald's. Hear the difference? So it was like coming out of the 90s, early 2000s vibe. And then it got into more just like, only at McDonald's. So just like there's still a cut, there's still this music punchiness to it. And then in the late 2010s, so like once, I signed with Atlas in 2016 in Colorado with no intention to move to LA yet. But they were sending me character stuff and I'm like, so I was doing more training, private training, workshops as much as I could. And I'm like, oh man, this shit's hard because your instinct is to want to color and emphasize and focus on technique as far like the technical part. And you haven't been trained in commercial and stuff to really just kind of like feel it out, at least from my era of voiceover. Now they do. They're like, how do you feel about it? Like, do you even eat meat? Are you a vegan? Right. So it's just like all this stuff comes into consideration and that truth comes out in commercials. That's what books now, but it wasn't quite what booked when I started. So that was a big challenge, and to bring it down and just like feel like I'm doing nothing with my reads. Right. So for grounded video games, and then for animation, comedy is a whole nother thing. Not everyone is funny. I was fortunate enough to where I played enough with like my voice and was desperate to just like be liked in high school. So I was kind of a jokester, but I wasn't popular, but I could make people laugh. So I had experience, like, impersonating my teacher, like Mr. Sperry. My older British chemistry teacher, I forgot her name. But I was always falling asleep in class, and she was like, Jordan, wakey, wakey. And everyone's like, ha, ha. It was like the punchline of the whole class, like, Jordan, wakey, wakey. So I played with that by impersonating teachers and stuff. So I was a little loose as far as my playfulness going into voiceover, but landing animation comedy and rhythm and timing, it's just a whole nother muscle. And improv is what changed my life, because improv, when you do a lot of it, not just a weekend workshop, but I'm talking weeks and weeks of it, like once a week for a 6-week course or an 8-week course or 12 weeks. And then you do another one for over the course of years. It loosens you up and it gets you to not give a shit about any choice you're making. And you just try things.
Yeah.
And you're no longer an adult of like, I need to pay bills. Insurance rate must be lower. What's my APR? Right? Yeah. It's like all that goes out the window when you do improv as an adult. And that transitioned really well for me into character and comedy, where you got to just be big and bombastic or really subtle comedy. It's just all these choices that improv really changed my life, both on a personal level, made me more confident and not as shy and hating myself as much, to be honest. And it helped me professionally a lot. So that's and then finally, to wrap that up, the one other challenge I had, especially in commercial, was I felt like I was like, I'm already talk kind of loud. Like the more confident I've gotten over the years, I talk at more of like a project, like not yelling, but this is my comfortable level. Whereas like, like in my early 20s, I probably kind of like talk more like this, kind of like just more mumbly, and like my voice is like, I put it lower. And with commercial work though, when I was training, I'd be like, hi, so I'm trying to do a commercial, and I would be more projected. And over the years, I really had to work on with coaches, and they got me to just relax. So instead of like, you need ink and toner, so you go to Staples. You need ink and toner, so you go to Staples. That was easy, right? So like literally getting comfortable with not projecting and cranking the gain. You have to turn the gain up. And the more you can roll, I'm not talking like an ASMR. This is just creepy. Like Staples, touch my staple. It's so silvery and soft. That's creepy. But I'm talking just more relaxed, right? This kind of read, I encourage everyone who's listening, you got to get good at relaxing your voice, because 2 things happen. You don't sound like you're trying so hard to do something, perform. And another thing is that your voice will actually drop in pitch naturally. I kind of call it the bedroom voice. When you're like, you're going to bed, you're like, hey, honey, do you want to, what time are we getting up tomorrow? Right? That's how you talk. You're like, hey, honey, what time are we getting up tomorrow? Creepy. Right? It's relaxed. And when you can do that when reading a commercial script, that's like that calls for that kind of read. It's really powerful. And most voice actors that don't have a lot of training under the belt, they can't get that relaxed. And it took me a long time to get there. To be comfortable with that and not feel like I'm being weird or sounding like I'm not trying. That was always, I'm like, but I'm not doing anything. And the coaches were like, exactly.
Hey, we've got a couple questions that I want to get to. I'm up against the clock tonight a little bit, but I can be late for my class. But a couple quick answer questions if possible.
Yes, I'll try. I'm not good at quick.
Raisin wants to know, at home I use an Art voice channel, my portable setup. I have a PreSonus tube, Pre-V2 with Cloud Lifter. Is this hardware overkill, or am I right on the money?
No, as long as you know what you're doing with it. Like the Art voice channel has like a compressor and EQ. You can do a bunch of stuff on it. So as long as you're not if you're not turning the knobs too much of an extreme level, and if it sounds good, then no, it's not overkill. I'm assuming you're using a dynamic mic, because the Cloud Lifter is what adds about 20 dB of gain. So in the PreSonus Tube Pre, the Art voice channel and the PreSonus Tube Pre, I can't say how they sound against each other, but both of those are in the same vein. They're budget audio, they're budget preamps essentially, but they sound good for the money. Like they don't sound amazing, like as far as like compared to like a $2,000 preamp, right? But they get the job done. So I don't think it's really like overkill. But what I say, do you need it? That's what I don't know. I'd have to hear how your audio sounds without that and not. And then I'll wrap this up by saying, You may need it more, especially the voice channel, because dynamic mics by default tend to sound a little dull. They usually don't have the clarity and the brightness that a shotgun mic or a large diaphragm has. So something like the R voice channel, where you can add some brightness on the top end for EQ on a dynamic mic specifically, actually can be very helpful. So you may be right in the pocket, but without actually hearing your audio, I can't say if it's overkill or not.
Okay, Steve has 2 questions, but he's only going to get 1.
Smackdown.
Well, one's about, did you map out your path to signing with Atlas? Steve's really new. Atlas is way down the road, Steve, even for someone like me. So let's have an equipment one for you. I noticed on your website, the pick was up, by the way. The Sennheiser HD650 open back headphones. He thought closed back headphones are the recommended ones to go with.
I know I'm contradicting myself, huh? I'm literally wearing headphones I don't recommend most people use. But I'm not doing like a professional VO session right now, right? I'm not like, right. But, and I'm also not like doing deep audio analysis. So, and I'm a nerd and I have too many headphones. But to answer the Atlas question, yes, I won't go deep, but yes, I did plan it out. Not
Perfect.
like I just had a game plan. It was like almost a year and a half of planning and
Right,
training, demos, prep. And with the headphones, I wear these. What I like about them is they're very flat and true. And I can hear a lot of audio fidelity and clarity. But the problem is, if I want to analyze my noise floor or hear like really, really super nuanced, subtle stuff, like doing ear training, like if I'm taking the Audio Ninja Masterclass, I would not be wearing these, because I can hear the ambience in my room. I hear my air purifier on over here, because these are literally open back here. So
Okay.
Closed back is why I recommend people use, especially if they're going to be tweaking their own audio and training.
One last question. Where do I go for ink and toner?
You go to Sally's. Sally's Beauty.
Office Depot.
I would love to see you with blue hair, Jim, but you do need a beauty license. So get your beauty license, go to Sally's, and you can get your ink and toner and just spice it right up.
You're quick, my friend. Say hello to the missus. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for teaming up with us for the Christmas in July. I'm going to call it the second place prize. J. Michael Collins with the demo came through, and he is our major sponsor for the event. So, but Jordan, thank you for stepping up everything you do, my friend, and we'll talk soon.
You got it. Thanks for having me on, man. This is fun.
Jordan Reynolds.
Later, Jordan.
Wife on sometime soon.
Absolutely.
All right. So listen, we're going to go now, because I am supposed to be in let me find the right thing here. Here we go. I am supposed to be in a class with Jen Henry a couple months ago. So yeah, damn, exactly. So before we go, let's recap, because I think people have joined us since we first talked about things. Very quickly, we have the conference scholarship going on right now at the brand new website, themicrophoneInsider.com. So go there. Sign up for it. We're giving away 2 full weekend passes to Dallas, one voice conference in Dallas. That's just the passes. Hotel and airfare is up to you. That's why we're doing it now. It's only going to be open for about 2 weeks, maybe. You know, because we want to pick a winner and pick our recipients and have them have time.
Yeah.
Exactly. And of course, we have if you click on the event tab, we have an event coming up. I believe it's I want to say August 31st, maybe it's July 31st. July 31st with Ann Ganguza. And then on September 17th, we have J. Michael Collins doing a political workshop. So get your tickets for that when you can. Just so you know, all the money raised, 100% of it, 100% of the profits raised goes to funding this project. Not just the show itself, but, you know, purchasing the Apollo that we're giving away, you know, things like that, getting coaches to come in and do things like this for us, paying for the platforms and all that, instead of having a Patreon account and begging for money like a lot of podcasts do. Nothing wrong with that, but we figure we have a platform that we can offer something for it, more than just a t-shirt or a shout out or something you get with Patreon. This way you can actually get education. You get too much information, because you can never have too much information. TMI. Guys, I gotta go. Anything you guys want to wrap up? I've talked a lot at the end here.
No,
I
I'm
talked a lot
good.
all show, but
I have to
Good to go.
scram
you
too.
all good? Okay, just so you know, coming up,
Thanks everyone for
the
coming.
the aforementioned Ann Ganguza will be our next show on the 13th of June. Kim Herden, is that right?
Ooh.
That's
Mhm.
right. And then J. Michael Collins coming in, which is the show before the giveaway. So that's just around the corner too. We'll have more information and a whole list of what we're giving away during the Christmas in July next show with Ann Ganguza. So stay tuned for that, guys. Thank you for listening, Terry. Oh, Terry.
Damn. Grace.
As always,
Heyo.
Grace.
Peace
There
out.
you go.